Hello and welcome to something completely new, which is the patch release notes analysis with myself. So we're going to be going over the patch notes and seeing how they are going to be affecting the game and if the meta will change with all of the patch notes that the CA has brought to us. So relax and yeah, there's going to be a long one because we're going to be going over every single thing except for like the campaign stuff, of course. Like the start here kind of doesn't matter for us, but I will go over at least a couple of the notes that they have left inside of the patch notes. So it seems that basically the campaign AI will no longer be overstacking in the late game, which is basically what this says. And yeah, less idling and clumping around settlements in general. Then they fixed some issues. They added a couple of new landmarks for us, which is cool. Some technologies for the tigers. Then when it comes to the general stuff, this is just general stuff, but you all know what we're here for. So I'm going to be scrolling on down a bit. When it comes to the characters, okay. Events, technologies. So for the skills, was it the skills? No. So inside of here, when it comes to the battle stuff, they did do a couple of changes when it comes to, let's say, Skyjunk now having the ability of Eyes of the Dragon. They fixed the Sky Lantern's projectile range to be according. They fixed the moving animation fix, etc. This is also a very nice one, so no longer do we need to include into the rules that yeah, Bjorg and the Marauder Bearmen are banned on the Warriors of Chaos roster since the last time that they changed it. They removed them from the Warriors of Chaos roster. Great Shaman Sorcerer had some missile resistance that was missing, basically, and so on and so on. But what we are really here for is the battle balance changes, right? So I'm going to be going over all of them, as well as going basically into the game itself to just look over all of the things that are changed. So let's jump on in. First thing, Bashiva, White Tiger passive ability is effect range from 55 to 100. This is okay. This only technically affects Tiger Warriors, so it is okay. Nothing too special, nothing too crazy, just an okay-ish buff. Especially a 55-meter aura is already pretty big, 100 is just good. Tiger Warrior Savai. So this guy is the generic hero lord from Cathay. I technically don't have the DLC yet. I really should get it. But this guy over here, so he is just a tiny bit cheaper, which makes sense considering Bashiva is so cheap without her kit. It would make just her a superior pick in just about all cases. Max splash attacks kind of doesn't matter, like he was already good to begin with. Predatory instincts added additional 24 melee attack, totally fine. Dawn glaive increased effect range, it's okay. Like nothing too special is going to change about this guy. You're probably still, when you're wanting a duelist type lord, still going to be taking Bashiva compared to the Tiger Warrior Savai. So Claw Speaker, this is pretty cool that all of the passives do get a cost reduction, so they're basically more usable. So this can affect on how many of the Claw Speakers. For example, in one of the games that we had, I believe Berserk, he brought 2 Claw Speakers. So this would have been potentially very good for him. And yeah, Mantra of Righteousness, additional 25% armor piercing melee effect added. It's just nice addition, nothing too special. This is a very good change though. Oh, let me just get rid of my WhatsApp. So this is a very good change though. So Tiger Warrior Stalkers no longer uses precursor missile weapon profile and now uses missile skirmishers. This is important for the ability so that you can actually put them in don't shoot in the don't shoot mode so that you can actually conserve their ammo and ambush the proper thing that you want. Because currently the way that they work is that you can't stop them from shooting. So they just immediately fire off their 2 or 4 precursor ammo shots and then you're shit out of luck. While you could have potentially used them to ambush something like a flying hero or something else. Because also do remember that these guys, the Tiger Warrior, where are the infantry guys? So the Tiger Warriors, they do have the smallest amount of discoverability when you're going next to them. So when it comes to that, like you need to be super close, like in the smoke bomb area effect, to actually be able to see them. So they're very good when it comes to assassination. And with their 2 precursor ammo, if you're just using them sparingly, like using them just as they throw it away, it's pretty bad. Tiger Warriors all, I mean, they get the Woodsman trait and Forest Strider effect group. Okay. They are tigers, they do go into the woods, so that is totally fine. That just completely makes sense. Nothing's gonna change with this. Tao Yin the Merciless. So Tao Yin getting ITP, max splash attacks down to 4, and then fueled by vengeance passive is increased. So she does get more damage resistance and base AP plus AP damage, which is very nice. Like this is good. She's a good fighter now, and with her having ITP, she is not gonna run away. I think we have only seen Tao Yin in one other scenario so far in the Warhammer League. So she's not like the most known pick or something that you pick constantly, but she can potentially work because she's an anti-large fighter. So anti-large hero fighters are always welcome on most rosters. An example of that would be like the Skinwolf Werekin, right? So Skinwolf Werekin is an amazing fighter, does also have regen and other stuff. So having ITP on your Skinwolf Werekin basically is pretty good. This is the first really strong change that I really like, especially for Grand Cathay. So Celestial Dragon Guard currently, let's actually, does the mass show in here or do I need to go in there? So 125. Ooh, that is really low mass. That is the same. Oh my god, that is the same as a Jade Warrior. This is actually quite needed for the Dragon Guard. Why? Because this is a halberd unit, guys. Look at this. 125 mass basically means that you can take anything that that is like even light cav, right? So light cav having 500 mass. When they charge in, this is supposed to be your shield wall that has expert charge defense and charge reflection. So giving mass to halberds is a very good fix in having them actually tie down some units that are trying to run through them. We can also do some comparisons to, let's say, I don't know, Chaos Warriors. Halberds, they got 160. These guys are cheaper than freaking Dragon Guard, and they still have a lot more mass. So I'll not go to dwarves or stuff like that. Let's say Saurus. So Saurus Warrior Spears, 190 mass. They are dinosaurs though, so kind of makes sense. But let's say Bretonnian just peasants spearmen at arms, 100. Okay, let's see the men at arms. Men at arms still 100. Interesting. So the peasants do not get anything like that. But when you compare it to, let's say, orcs, 130, relatively near. But this is a 450 gold unit, right? And then if you look into something like a heavier unit, 180. They're still going to be lower in mass, and it makes sense. Orcs are bigger, right? They're still going to be lower in mass, but this just generally helps them. Also, they have how many? They have 100 models. So that means that 4 HP per entity basically increases their HP by 400, which puts them in a very nice category of 8,800 for a elite unit. So this is a bit lower on the lower side for the elite units. Let's check out some other ones. So let's say Chosen, 10k HP. They're in the same price range basically as those guys, or like even Chaos Warriors have just 9k HP, which is quite a lot. Let's say Bearman. Oof, I don't even want to look at Bearman. Bearman at 1.1k, and they have 120 mass. Just crazy. But yeah, this is a very nice change, especially for the melee stuff. Crossbows, okay, you're gonna get tied down like a lower amount when you're gonna try and charge them, but pretty nice change. Then our boy Terracotta Sentinel now has Sunder Armor Contact effect. Sunder Armor is basically the effect that you get from, I know it's in Zinch 100%, so let's say Spawn. So Sunder Armor basically gives you minus 30 armor. It's a nice addition. Like, it's a big monster. For big monsters, it usually doesn't matter if they have this under armor contact effect, but sometimes they do enable it for other units that are trying to either shoot into it or shoot into the thing that the Terracotta Sentinel is fighting, or so on and so on. And it is technically a nice change because the main thing that Grand Cathay usually struggles with is armor. So having like improving the Terracotta Sentinel to just synergize well with the rest of your army is just nice, right? Same for the Green Guardian boy. You also get a -50 for him, so he would go from what? So he'd go from 1900 to 1850. Ooh, still, considering he doesn't have any like bonuses, he does have high melee attack, but I don't know. Like he's a janky big boy that yeah, easily shot even with the redirect. This is a pretty goofy ability that he has when it comes to redirecting. Basically has missile mirror on himself. But yeah, still not used, probably not going to be used too much. I'd be interested to see Daniken field one of the Terracotta Sentinels in some army, but I don't believe this changes too much, honestly. Next, very interesting change. So when it comes to Astrogoth, they basically upped his base weapon strength and the 20% AP, so we can swap over to the Chaos Dwarves currently. So we got our boy Astrogoth. Basically, where is the Stone Mantle? Mechanical Overdrive. Here we go. So currently it's at 15% base and then 8 melee attack, which now it gives base weapon strength increase to 20% and an additional 20% added on the actual effect. So you're basically getting 20% base plus an additional 20% for the armor piercing. He's already a pretty good whack-a-mole character, and you can't really catch him. So this is a nice change for him, but the main problem with him is he's so expensive, man. Like, look at this. Like, base, he's 1500, which is, I guess, okay, but he's so, just like on the roster where everything is pretty expensive already. And then what? You're gonna bring him with like a Firestorm. He doesn't even have Flames of Asgore for some reason, no clue why. But yeah, you're probably gonna get him with that. Then you're gonna get Mechanical Overdrive, and then potentially now with the new Stone Mantle, you'd probably get that. So with this, he's 2k. Like, what does he do that, let's say, a Chaos Prophet on a Lamassu or a Great Taurus doesn't do? Like, look at this guy. This guy is on a mount, even on a big mount that has Breath Attack ITP, and you're like telling me this guy is worse than Astrogoth, or just about at the same level for 150, and you're getting so much more. You're getting 4 different types of spell schools that you can pick your proper spells in, like get actual spell in the Hashut version, right? So like it's just not worth it to generally take Astrogoth, but potentially nice try for the change. When it comes to the Stone Mantle, this is an interesting one. So he no longer has the health activation flag. It's now based on spells cast by the player. So currently, Astrogoth Stone Mantle is based on the HP enables when HP is less than 75%, and then it stacks up. So it's going to be up to 40% physical resistance, 30% speed, but it's going to be based on spells cast. That is an interesting change. And it could be really cool if they kind of buffed Burning Wrath in, let's say, the next patch or something. Because this spell is just bad. And then you could potentially just spam Burning Wrath and enable your Stone Mantle and him being a complete tank because of it, or something similar to this, like get Kindle Flame and maybe even his hammer, and then you just spam Burning Wrath or Ash Storm plus Flamestorm on top of yourself to just maximum spam on flammable. So it could be something, but probably just Astrogoth in general is just still a bit too expensive. Next change, super exciting one. Mask of Slanesh, minus 400 HP. So Mask currently, let's check him out. Her. So when it comes to Mask, 5,300 HP. So it puts the Mask at 4,000 900 HP, which is, what is a standard normal character here for, let's say, Norscan Shaman Sorcerer? 3k. On amount, 4k. This guy is going to be 4.9k. Let's say another Duelist Lord. Let's say something like Archie Barefoot. Archie Barefoot is a chonker. Interesting. Let's say, what is another just normal character that goes on foot sometimes? Nothing comes to mind, honestly. Let's do the Skink Chief. 3.7. That's a bit low. Let's say Marcus. Even Legendary Lord, 4.2k. Like, Marcus is a bit of a wimpy guy, but it does rein in Mask a tiny bit. The main issue is that it's 1800, man. Like, this thing is the most insane character, and it is the most insane character because of this thing. Chanson of Caging. Chanson of Caging, like, you don't understand how oppressive this is. Like, your entire army is exhausted within 15 seconds of the mask standing in a 55-meter radius around it. So until they nerf this, I believe mask, however many nerfs that they take, mask still has a heal. So you getting one more Spirit Leech less on top of the mask to kill her is just not worth it. They also, with these debuffs, so it's gonna go down to what, 55 melee defense, which is more fair, but still, it's a insane legendary lord. And then they buffed the Chanson of Caging to 15% speed and an additional 15% charge speed. This makes basically Chanson of Caging the ultimate instant click. Like, you're never gonna change from this dance. Because with Slaanesh, what you're already doing is just going in, cycle charging, going out. Going in, cycle charging, going out. And with an additional charge bonus incentive for the Chanson of Caging, along with the vigor down for 1%, it's like, Mask is staying banned in the multiplayer community. There is nothing that is going to be changing when it comes to the Mask ban, sadly. Also, Waltz of Lethargy, they wanted to buff it, so this is now a 35-meter radius, and she also gets Unyielding Assault attribute. Unyielding Assault is basically the attribute that stops, where are some champions? So Unyielding Assault is basically the attribute that stops melee attack from being reduced, basically making it a permanent 65, or 65 plus 6, I would assume, right? 65 plus 6 is 71, so permanent 71. So again, it's staying an absolutely amazing duelist. So this is insane. Nice try with the nerf, not enough, probably needs more. Definitely needs more, especially in the cost department. The heal is crazy on the character, and then they kind of went the other way and buffed the actual dances, which is crazy. Now this is a good nerf. This is a good nerf. So minus 600, minus 2 charge bonus, minus 2 armor piercing weapon strength. This is good nerf, because Slangors punch up into just about everything. They have so much HP. They have HP on the level of, like, Forsaken, right? They have more HP than Forsaken by 1.6k. That is insane. They do have more models, of course, but still. And the main problem here that was being done was the armor piercing. So whenever they were facing something that has armor, you basically never took Forsaken anymore inside of Slaanesh. You could just like, go cheaper, and these guys are on the level or sometimes even better than Forsaken, depending on the situation, right? Because Pleasure Through Pain buffs them up a bunch. They already get Primal Fury from being a gore. They already have all of the bonuses that are there from Slaanesh. They only don't get Devastating Flanker, which is the thing that Forsaken get. But you're totally fine. You still have Pleasure Through Pain. You still have the Primal Fury, which kind of makes up for it. So yeah, this is a great change. They're going to go down to 9k HP, so that's going to be way less. and the charge bonus plus the armor piercing is going to put a needle in their ability to actually fight. So probably more Slanesh players are gonna be leaning more into Forsaken compared to just spamming out Slongors and winning the game with an A move. So yeah, good change. Dekala. So they wanted to make Dekala a bunch better, which is nice. I appreciate it, but she seems super strong now. Like, if you've ever seen her model in game, and you probably did in a couple of the games that I did, her model, even though it's big, is very small. She's one of the smaller, large entities that actually exist in the game. So, the problem with her is you need to tie her down. She has 1200 mass and is super slippery because she has the shape of something like a pleasure seeker on the ground. And if you've ever seen those things, they're very slippery to get out of any sort of mass. So the Kala is very difficult to tie down, and she's very easily obstructed by other large entities around her because of the size of her model. So you basically have the only counter to units like this is direct damage spirit leeches or shooting. She has a shield, probably not going to be activated all the time, but she also does have what is the dance called? This one, the Praise of Slanesh, extra missile block chance, and melee defense plus 36. So what they're going to be doing is adding 360 missile block chance for her and 36 missile block chance instead. She's going to be in the range of like between a silver shield and a bronze shield. Bronze shield being what? Oh no, bronze shield is 40%. Interesting. Okay, so her bronze shield is 40%. Aren't bronze shields like 35 from what I remember, right? Yeah, 35. Okay, so she has a special bronze shield, it seems. So like a silver shield is, let's find the silver shield. Silver shield, Warriors of Chaos probably. So silver shield is usually 55%, yeah. And then she has a special shield, it seems, that is a different value. I never knew this until I hovered over it. So her actual one is 40%. So she's going to be getting 360, 40% missile block chance. So that's going to be pretty good. And this is basically the Praise of Slanesh you pop while you're running in. You block a bunch of stuff. Then you get into melee, and now you have Unyielding Assault with 36 melee attack added. So the other dagger dance, the Dance of Destruction, basically now gives you the extra buff. So that is pretty good buffs for the Kala. She's gonna be good. And then this is a cute change, like Elixir of Damnation. Basically her elixir that reduces melee attack to 0 and the removes terror, ITP, and fear. It's gonna have 5 charges. Like with the cooldown of it being 2 minutes, you're never gonna get 5 charges out of this thing. Even at the start of the game, if you immediately threw it onto something or like activated it, you're just never gonna get 5 charges out of it. So that's just a cute change. Druki Anointed. Okay, so nobody uses this guy. This bald boy over here. Nobody uses him. His he's so pixelated, man. But yeah, plus 25 weapon strength on all variants, plus mounts. Can now purchase the Murderous Euphoria in custom battle and the Guardian. So you can potentially have a stronger goon squad. Guardian being the ability for, let's say, I think a chieftain has a guardian, right? Yeah. So you get 15% fizz res from just standing near your lord or something in defense of it. So it's okay, but honestly, nothing too crazy, right? Gotta refuel. Then, Kraton. So, all-consuming hatred. Damage reflection increased to 40. Now has unlimited uses. Okay, so our boy Prayton is now able to taunt you to kill yourself upon it multiple times. More than 2 times at least. At least 2 times. But the problem with this thing is, it has 7k HP. It has a relatively small model, and it's just not good, man. Like, why would you ever click this ability? This ability is one of the worst abilities in the current multiplayer scene. Like, I don't think this thing has even the potential, even in campaign, to actually do anything. But you can use it unlimited number of times now. That's good, I guess. Because Slanesh doesn't even have healing, right? Neither does Beastman, which is the only other faction that gets the Praeton, right? So you can't really synergize this with the, for example, something like, I don't know, Chimera. If they gave this to Chimera, that would be even worse. But yeah, let's say the RR Chimera. Oh, we're still in Beastman. So RR Chimera at least has like the perfect Predator, which heals it. So that could potentially synergize with it being like a taunt magnet. But man, look at these two monsters. They're like on completely different levels. And you would think that they would completely cost differently, right? But man, is the poor Praetor and the Scourge of Arden completely mogged by the Bloodshriek Chimera. They're like not in the same universe. Even with the bonus versus large, the Chimera probably just overperforms compared to the Praetor in all aspects. Plus, it gets a breath attack on top of everything, and immune to flanking, which for some reason this thing doesn't get. So yeah, still Praetor completely mocked by Chimera. This kind of doesn't change anything. Endless Malice, increased effect range. What is that? The unyielding assault enemy unit routing or broken within range. So it would get unyielding assault and a bunch of bonuses. Okay. Okay. Devotees of Slanesh now has Murderous Mastery. Second stage weapon strength is now 20%. So Devotees, Sipa is going to be very happy with this change. So Devotees of Slanesh, here they go. They basically currently have the Murderous Euphoria. So the second stage would go to 20%. But how this works is they would probably have to get 40 kills themselves before this pops on them, which wouldn't be that difficult, honestly, because devotees are already murder machines, like really strong unit. Also the crossbows too. And then they would pop Murderous Mastery, which is the Dark Elf ability, right? So any unit would, this is prowess, there's Murderous Mastery. So Murderous Mastery after killing 40 units, this would pop and then they would get a bunch of bonuses, leadership, charge bonus, melee attack, armor piercing, fear, and vigor replenishment being the main thing that you really want on them. So nice buff to them. They're already really good to begin with, so this is kind of just a bonus on top of them. Champions of Slaanesh now have ITP, bonus versus infantry increased by 5. I don't know if this applies to the ROR Champion of Slaanesh, probably plus an extra 5. Okay, the normal ones having ITP was not having ITP was a bit funny because they're 1750. That's just like too too expensive to not have ITP, honestly. But the thing with them is you never take them. You always take the Champions of Slanesh. Look at what you get for plus 200. So 25 leadership, unbreakable, basically. You get 12 melee attack, 12 melee defense, weapon strength charge bonus, and then you also get the unyielding assault ability, and you already have the 20% phys res. So it's so strong, with the 200%, 200 gold upgrade. So you just always take the pleasure card. Like these things overperform in every single situation, especially because this melee defense stat is so high that nothing can potentially even hit them. The only way to kill these guys is shooting, and they're already very resistant. Plus they have the shields, which for some reason have 40% block chance. So this is kind of a okay change, like bringing them more in line with their cost, but probably you'll still just be taking the ROR. Scourge of Arden now has wounded prey contact effect plus hide and forest. okay. It can hide in the forest. It makes sense. Now, these are changes that are just all right. Seeker Chariots, Hellflayer, and the Exalted Seeker Chariot all get minus 20 armor plus 20 charge bonus, so they're gonna be just zooming on through, which is nice, I guess, especially for the, where's the Exalted Hero Chariot? Exalted Hellflayer. Oh, there it is, 1450. So, these guys, instead of 70 armor, which makes sense, Slanesh shouldn't have too much armor, they're going to be 50, and then they're going to be 95 charge bonus. That's really good. Though, again, this is a single entity chariot, which really isn't the best if you look at something like the Black Coach and stuff. You already can probably take something on a chariot, or you can probably take the Allurus on a chariot, and she's gonna be like cheaper than the chariot itself. So yeah, you probably just take something like this instead, because you have so many different bonuses, and then you also have like the ability to have an actual spellcaster as well, and the looks of swiftness. Oh god, we'll get to that. But yeah, you probably still don't take the Exalted Chariot by itself. You just take an Allurus with the Exalted Chariot. So yeah, okay change. Nothing too special. Chaos Lord of Slanesh now has Soporific Musk. Soporific Musk is the mount ability that, let's say, fiends and stuff apply. Where are the fiends? Fiend. Okay, fiend. So, fiends have Soporific Musk, which is the -5/-5 debuff when they're in contact effect. That's a really good buff. I think you already had this if you bring him on a steed. This might be a bug that it doesn't show it here on the demonic steed, but you probably should be getting that. I think Strykar is technically on a steed, right? And then he does have, oh, he has it by himself. Okay, so technically the Chaos Lord of Slanesh will have Soporific Musk by himself. Beguiling Gem now has -20% speed effect. I forget who has Beguiling Gem. But the -20% speed effect is okay. It's just like normal. Oh, right. That is in Warriors of Chaos. And then like an Exalted Hero or something has the Beguiling Gem. One of the versions, at least. Oh, my bad. Beguiling Gem. Ah, I can't forget where it is. Might have been the Lord then. That has Beguiling Gem. Nurgle? No. Okay, I forget. I forget. There's so many abilities in this game. I forget where a Beguiling Gem is hidden from me, but it shall remain hidden. And then Demonettes. Ooh, this is an interesting one. So Demonettes get -50 gold. So when you go into Slanesh, Demonettes are currently 800. Moving them down to 750 is gonna make them a potentially takeable unit. Currently, you sometimes do take them, but they're really low entity HP compared to something like a Forsaken, and they're really low, like they're susceptible to getting shot at, but they're real Terminators with these stats as a base stat, right? So getting them onto 750 might actually make them like very much compete with Slongors. So yeah, interesting to see the change. They definitely should be competing with them, especially with the 20% Phys Res. That's an interesting one. Devastating Flanker too. So next up, we see the Allurus -50. This also applies to just her on a Seeker Chariot. So this is just even more of a buff to taking her on a chariot potentially, with +5 melee defense on the demonic steed. Okay, but this is the insane one. This is the prime Anticity buff, man. I don't know if he asked specifically for this, but this is insane. Like, Locus of Swiftness now has 40-second duration. I'll hover over this while I take my drink, and you guys tell me what you think. So, this is primo Anticity buff. Primo. He's gonna be back streaming and then doing Demons of Chaos army that looks like nothing you've ever seen, and like taking Allurus with like Melkoth's and or Pit of Shades on foot with this thing, and then his what was it, Herald of Corn or whatever, with all of the buffs, Revel and Slaughter, and then Tormentor Sword, and then on a Juggernaut, right? He's gonna be doing this and then taking like a bajillion Seekers and Hellstriders and stuff. And, and it's gonna be pure pain, man. It's gonna be so difficult to deal with this type of army, especially now that Pleasure Seekers exist. He's gonna be creating the ultimate Zoom Zoom with Demons of Chaos again. So this is an insane buff. 14 seconds extra of 20%, 25% speed charge bonus. Crazy buff, crazy buff. I don't know why Slanesh needed this as a bonus buff. But yeah, you can also purchase Locus of Beguilement. Marquis of Masochism, the Keeper of Secrets ROR, minus 100, and now has 2 Enfeebling Foes. This is okay. Like, we've seen recently, I think Ponty take this thing, and it didn't perform the best, but, or was it, it wasn't potentially Ponty, it was Mr. Razak actually took the Marquis. I mean, it's okay. It's a really strong unit, but it's super expensive, and you kind of don't want big shootable things. But getting it to 2k might push it over the edge and actually be totally okay. Yep. Next up, we got the Cultist of Slanesh. Pendant of Slanesh. Cooldown now has 60 seconds, and Torment Blade is 18. So Cultists. When it comes to the Cultists, let's just drop these boys. Oh. Okay, Cultist. So it's not the Gate, it's the Torment Blade, which is okay. Like, nothing too special. Now, instead of 14 seconds, it's going to be 18 seconds, so it's nice. And then the Pendant is going to be, 60-second cooldown, so you can spam it even more. But you usually don't even take these guys unless you take them completely naked and then just get the Gate of Slanesh if you want to, like, overblob and create something that, create a Demonette out of thin air. So usually these guys are not really that taken, and they're pretty expensive. 650 base is really, really expensive compared to, what is a like Exalted Hero base? Exalted Hero completely base is 600. So they could potentially use a buff, just because this guy is like completely mocking the other character. But yeah, interesting change. It's okay. It's just a okay buff. Chimera. Next up, Chimera, -5 leadership. So, Chimera is pretty busted right now. The ROR and the normal one, it's going to be down to 60 leadership. You're never routing this thing. You're never routing this thing while it has ITP and Terror. Like, there's no way you route this thing. So, -5 is a nice gesture, but that's all it is. It's a gesture. It's not a real nerf. So leadership is not a problem with this unit. Like, the unit has cracked stats for what it is. It is insane that it has 80 armor, 85 speed, really good leadership, amazing attack, and breath attack, and immune to flanking, and causes terror. Like, all of these things combined, and the best animations in the game when it comes to stuff. So this thing is still going to be, like, insanely broken, probably. It does depend on this nerf, though. So they're nerfing the Flaming Breath again, which basically makes it so that the main value that you get out of the Chimera is, on top of it being a great fighter, is basically the breath attack. So depending on how much the values are changed, which we'll see on patch day, this can potentially be a good nerf. So holding our breath until we see the actual numbers when it comes to the Chimera. Next up, we see the Dreadmaw. Dreadmaw -5 leadership. So our boy Wormboy over here is going to be down to 60 leadership. But he suffers from the same thing that the Chimeras suffer from. So he has immune to flanking, he has massive missile resistance, and he causes terror already. So you nerfing him from 65 to 60 with him having 10k HP basically changes nothing. Like, this worm is still gonna be probably banned completely inside of the game, inside of the multiplayer scene, because he is just too strong. He literally shuts down an entire play style with him existing. There is just nothing that can stop him unless you over invest into the potential that your opponent brings it into battle. And the ability to have this thing on one of the strongest rosters in the current game, Norska, just completely shuts down counters to this entire faction. So, like, you having Worm is just insane. Burrow, cooldown now 25 seconds. So, you might think this is a huge nerf, but it's not. The Burrow cooldown is technically 20 seconds now. So we looked into this, and currently the first one, you pop up and you have the teleport. So that's fine. But the current cooldown is 20 seconds. So it is going to stay up for 5 seconds longer, which is nice. So potentially certain factions, like let's say Kislev, or what is super annoying, like Rats maybe, or something, can potentially kill it during this period. But while it has all of the other things that it already has, for so much HP, so much armor, missile resistance, ability to teleport, and so on, it's just going to be busted. There's no way. It has even freaking charge melee damage reflection, right? So it is just too strong of a unit. You can't do anything against it on most factions, and it is super annoying. And also, like, it's a melee attack 65. Like, this thing should be melee attack maybe 40, and then plus 25 bonus versus infantry or something. Because at current, the Dreadmaw, for example, let's say you're playing Rats, right? And you have your mutant rat ogre bodyguard that is supposed to be there to protect your backline. And then the worm surfaces, and then your bodyguard gets mogged in melee attack with the worm, and the worm actually beats his ass because it has 3k HP more and 13 more melee attack. So that just shouldn't be happening, especially for a dedicated generalist fighter, let's say like a mutant rat ogre or something. Definitely shouldn't be getting mocked by a worm. But yeah, definitely should change the melee attack. Potentially even nerf it for 5 more leadership. That could get it into the range of actually being able to route it if you like fully focus it. Increased explosion projectile radius. This basically is related to its actual missile strength here. So you can look at the damage spread right now. It's 35 base explosive, 25 armor piercing, and it will be 25 base explosion and 35 bonus explosive armor piercing explosive. So it's just they're just moving around the damage profile of it to be more armor piercing compared to base, which is fine, totally fine. Next up, Famir Noble, minus 50 gold. So they really do like pushing the Famir. And the new guy, the Famir Noble. Previously you just had the Balefin. So they want to basically push this guy to be an equivalent to the Skinwolf Werekin. And it's a nice try. Skinwolf Werekin is pretty expensive. And when you look at the stats that are compared to them, technically the Famir Noble is better. But the problem with the Famir Noble is that it's pretty slow compared to the Werekin at 75. And Werekin has 2 extra things on it, which is Ruinous Flesh, which is when you're going for a duelist, like, let's say, Wolfric plus Werekin plus, let's say, Giant or something, you do want the aura. This aura is very nice. 10% missile res and 23 armor is really nice. So this is 93 technically for himself. So it's not as far away from the Famir Noble the armor. And the bonus versus large is just insane. Look at this, plus 36. So technically the difference in melee attack doesn't matter. The only thing that you do get is corrosion, so Sunder Armor, and the magical attacks. So if you're going into something that is maybe a spooky ghost or something, you could get the Famir Noble, but you also get regen on top of everything for the Skinwolf Werekin. So that is why the Skinwolf Werekin excels at combat. This guy, he's getting there. He's getting there. Him naked is now pretty good. If they kind of change up the way that these things are calculated on top of the noble, let's say, for example, the from the mists thing, if it wasn't based on leadership, if it was based on, let's say, HP, then this would be very good. Like, definitely you would take the Femir noble. But for example, like this, like skin hidden plates, plus 15 armor and can cause terror if HP is greater than 50%. That's a good one. So you basically have a super cheap melee terror piece with a condition. But with it being based on, with the from the mist thing being based on leadership, that's just so fickle. You can just immediately lose this debuff for some reason, especially because he doesn't cause terror himself. Yeah, interesting change. What is this? Hit a reaction ignore. This basically means how easily he's knocked over. So he can ignore it 70% of the time, so 30% chance to get knocked over. Favored by the matriarch, cost minus 50, threshold is now 25% HP. Favored by the matriarch. Oh, so this thing, or what was it? Favored by the matriarch. This thing. HP greater than 50%. Now HP greater than 25%. Okay, so this is a buff. Okay, nothing too special. Next up, Bjorg Bearstruck. Now deals 20 bonus versus large instead of bonus versus infantry. So they're going back to him dealing bonus versus large. This was his original version. He wasn't a infantry character. He was a specialist. He was basically a Skinwolf Werekin. And now he's a Giga Skinwolf Werekin. So he's just 100 gold more expensive now than the Skinwolf Werekin. And he's going to get 20 melee bonus versus large. Okay, he does have regeneration himself, so that is nice. He also does have frenzy, which is not accounted for here. So he's going to be insane in battle. He also gets ITP. Does Skinwolf Werekin get ITP? Oh. No, it does not. Okay. That's a nice change for him. Does he have the 20% Fizz Res? He does. So he's just going to be like a Skinwolf Werekin that can't do the aura, but he could do some other stuff. For example, like War Cry is pretty interesting, and then Potion of Toughness is getting removed, so it's getting replaced with Praeton Horns. I actually don't know what this is. Let's check out Praeton Horns. Is this a ability or of some sort? I guess this is a new ability. Because I don't see Praeton Horns. Yeah, I don't see horns anywhere. So this might be a campaign-only ability or something that I don't know of. So comment down below if you know what this is. Hit ignore, same as the above, just 75%. Bearfang Talisman, 25%. Warcry, now 22%, 22 seconds. That's a nice buff. Like 4 extra seconds on this is pretty good. Like you're getting a lot of damage if you're just doing it on the connect. So that's pretty cool. Next up, Riders of the Mighty Serpent plus 100%, 100 gold. Yes. Finally, nerf them more, please, CA. Like this unit is the single most oppressive freaking horseman unit in the game. So nerfing this for 100 gold, beautiful. You basically should nerf them more. Like this unit is insane right now. If you're just looking at their pure stats at 750, they already got nerfed. They were 700 previously. So they're at 750. They got a bonus versus large on a missile unit. You get magic damage. You get battle songs. You get devastating flanker. You get all of the stuff that comes in with the Mark of Slanesh. Insane unit. You need to put them out of the range of just, you're telling me that this thing, this garbage ass unit, Marauder Horseman of Tzeentch, is on the level of the Riders of the Mighty Serpent. No freaking way. Like just nerf them to the ground. They're just so strong. So great change, love it. I love to see it. Then Kurgan Horsemen get 420 Blazed HP and 5 more weapon strength for the dual weapon variants. Interesting change. I feel like this is a campaign change, like a campaign problem that they identified, and then they're changing it with this. So they're gonna be in the 6K range when this actually changes. And I honestly don't like this change, just because it's on Norska. So if this unit wasn't on Norska, I'd be like, this change is great. But considering this unit is on Norska, and Norska is already so strong, it's just, especially with Devastating Flanker, now there is a less of a tactical play that you need to make when you're throwing them in. So they can actually just stay in combat longer, basically, and they're not gonna be running away. And this is supposed to be your shock cav unit that just goes in and terminates the source code of something, but nothing can fight back. Like if something fights back, these guys fold. And that's how it should be, especially because it's on Norska. Because if it wasn't on Norska, this change would be totally fine. But yeah, because it's on Norska, Norska is already so strong. Any sort of buffs are not going to be received well when it comes to Norska. So yeah, just a comment for that. Wolfric the Wanderer gets buffed. Interesting. So Hunter of Champions currently is 30 armor. There we go. 30 armor. So he's getting Plague of Rust now, which is really, really good. This is a nice change. And then Sword of Torgal is getting Inevitable End Contact Effect. This is a pretty interesting buff, because what this means is, I think this is on Kislev. Where are my boys? Okay, Mordheim's Beowulfs. So Inevitable End, is it this one? Dark Blooded Taint. I think it's something like this, where it's 100% healing modifier change, which he is going to be getting on top of Sword of Torgal. That can potentially change the way that you play, let's say, the Vampire Counts matchup, or even a counter, or even the mirror, or anything that actually has healing can potentially now get changed by the Sword of Torgal. Interesting change. Minus 150 on the War Mammoth. This is okay. Like, him on the War Mammoth is now going to be cheaper. So him naked on a War Mammoth is going to be 2k. Very nice. Very nice. Considering this isn't a shrine, probably still not going to be taken, right? I think you can just get the sorcerer, the shaman sorcerer, yeah, on a war shrine. But if it was this that was nerfed, then that would definitely be a big change. But yeah, cost 1 minus 150 on war mammoth, sure. Throg. Okay, Throg minus 50 gold. I like this. I like Throg. Throg is a great guy. I like Throg, baby. He's gonna be taken. So he's now 1550. Still probably a bit too expensive, but for what you get, he's pretty good. You can now purchase Colossal Strike. Doesn't need it. He is already a Giga Chad. Like, there's nothing you're missing with plus 28 melee attack. Already has like the bite, and then the extra addition is gonna be the Copious Vomit, his as it says in the tooltip over there. But Copious Vomit is going to get Stomach Acid contact effect. And Stomach Acid, I believe, is the same thing that Nurgle Bile Trolls get, right? This thing? Yeah, Stomach Acid, there we go. 15% speed, and then minus 8 leadership. Which is nice buff. Like, you're not complaining about it. Like, this is a nice buff for our boy Throg here. Probably, yeah, you can take this sometimes. Definitely, you always take the crown. And then you take this, and then you have just an unkillable lord on Norska. So, nice change. We like Throg. Famir, all variants from the mist gets plus 5 melee defense. Like, these guys are already unkillable unless you pop from the mists. So, them getting another 5, what was it, 5 melee defense? So, they're going to be 47 melee defense and 50% missile strength. They're gonna be so unkillable. It's crazy. Now use the aquatic large group stat group. I don't know what this means, but yeah, it is. This is definitely a change. Feral Mammoth minus 100 gold. Okay, nothing too special. Like, probably not gonna be taking the Mammoth as is. He is 1800. So you're going to be getting 1600 for him. Totally okay. Like, again, probably not going to be taking him. Why? Because Ethans exist on the same freaking roster. The Norscan roster is insane, indeed. Enfeebling Foe, Flock of Doom, and Doom and Darkness now has 3 charges. Currently, it had all of them had 2 charges. Wrong Ethan, this guy. So currently, all of them get 3? Oh, crazy. So Enfeebling Foe was at 1 charge. I forgot about that. But these two, that's gonna be amazing on the Ethan. That's crazy. And then you're also getting WOM reserves per 0.07. So currently it's at 0.05. Where is it? There you go. 0.05. That's pretty good. Because instead of 1 WOM per 20 seconds or whatever, you're going to be getting 1 WOM every 14 seconds. Which is a significant buff. Especially, yeah, it's just a significant buff. Definitely a nice one. And I like Ettins. I used like double Ettin strategies whenever they came out. They're just better giants. Like, look at this HP, 14k. Even the cursed one has 12k and it has a heal. That's super strong. You want an Ettin? Ettins are great. Soul Crusher RR, minus 150 and minus 1 melee defense. Okay. Like, they just felt like the Soul Crusher needed that minus 1 melee defense to go it down to 38, I guess. Yep. Okay. Okay. And then our huge boy Toad Dragon, man. Look at this chonker of a Toad Dragon, man. 2k HP buff. That's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be really good. Toad Dragon is now actually insane. At 2k monster, getting 14k HP basically, has poison, has bonus versus melee. The only problem with him was the animations, but let's read on. So they basically changed his stats up a bit. So went from more being in base melee to more being in base AP, which is nice. Always nice to see. But then this is the buff that you've been waiting for, man. Increased acceleration, collision attack profile adjusted, and then Unspeakable Fortress no longer has the in melee condition. This is good. Depending on how this is implemented, if he gets the same profile as let's say a Sphinx, he's gonna be a Giga Chad, man. Like, imagine him being a Sphinx and then just charging through random infantry units and doing the collision damage properly. Like, slimy as a toad, deadly as a dragon is gonna be his motto. And what is this? Unspeakable, where's the can cast if out of melee? Suffocating. Minus 10 melee attack, reload skill, and vigor damage. So this is his breath, right? Unspeakable foulness. Yeah, definitely is. But yeah, now you can just breath while you're in melee, which is nice. So great change. Love the change for the Toad Dragon. Then Tammy Boy. So he's gonna be plus 2k HP when he is on his mount over here. That's also a pretty nice change because Bubulus is a Toad Dragon, so he's gonna be 14k HP, which is just amazing. Again, they redid his base attack damage and the other profile from being from just going less into base weapon damage and more into armor piercing, which is always good for a character, especially for a legendary lord that is really expensive like this, right? So that is good. Minus 100 G on foot. Definitely going to be taken way more. So this is definitely going to be taken way more. Like, he's already sometimes taken because of the HP pool and his black cleaver, and Nurgle's favorite son too, right? So you giving him minus 100 gold on all of that basically means so you can take one of these spells basically for a 50% discount. So that's good. Bonus versus large 30, currently 20. Good stuff. You always want your character that is anti-large to always hit the target. So having plus 30 is very nice. He's not going to be able to get knocked back. 50%, 55% meter, rotting host range, and black cleaver. This is great also because he affects all the units in range to give them. And now it's no longer 35. Now it's the Alberic aura, which is awesome. And then this is an interesting change. Feast of the Maggot Lord now heals at 50%. So Feast of the Maggot Lord is the thing that procs whenever he is about to die. I'm wondering automatically activates when hit points reach 0. So interesting change. So he gets the heal earlier and he cannot die. Does it also proc the Feast of the Maggot Lord? I'm not 100% sure. But if it procs the Feast at 50% HP, that's going to be an interesting change. Because then you can, like, tactically get him into a combat fight with the opponent. And then he can wreck their face. Especially if it's, like, a huge blob fight. So, we'll see how this actually is interacted with. Rotflies, minus 100 gold. Rotflies are just a terrible unit. Giving them minus 100 gold is okay, but until you change the way that they work, where are the Rotflies? There they go. Getting them to 800, okay, but they're just a bad unit. You already have, like, even the plague drones are bad, and you rarely even take plague drones. So yeah, not much to comment on that change. Then Plague Ogres, both variants. This is an awesome change. So getting 304 HP and 50 gold minus. I love Plague Ogres. I love me some Plague Ogres. So getting them a bit cheaper into normal territory is great. You use them into stuff like Ogre Kingdoms. So this might just even improve even more the matchup into the Ogies. Because, yeah, they just hate Plague Ogres. I recently just used them against a companion in RTK as well, and they performed admirably. They're so good, so good. Very nice unit. And plus 304 HP, it's gonna be like 10k HP, which is fine. Nurglings, now this is a fucking buff, man. Plus 15 HP per entity. They have 60 entities. That's 900 HP buff for our boy Nurglings. That's 9.3k HP now. That's quite good for Nurglings. And that on a 350 unit, that's beautiful to see. They already get Cloud of Flies, so they're kind of tanky. They get 20% Fizz Res. They got 0 armor, but now they got pretty good HP too, which is pretty cool. Like, love this change. Plus 2 melee attack as well, bringing them to 26. Also, love to see it. Just a great all-around buff for Nurgle. Nurgle does need buffs. It's probably one of the worst, one of the worst factions, or the least taken factions, just because you don't have agency when you're playing them. Everything can kite you, everything can shoot at you, you're very slow. You can't get on top of points very quickly, so it makes sense to give them more HP. That is the fantasy, right? Running at your opponent, or slowly trotting to your opponent and then overwhelming them over time, right? Other than that, we got some Rot Knights. This is a cool change. Mount entity shape, now ellipse. This means that they're basically gonna be like the Cold One Knights and Cold One Spear Riders now. Or no, the Cold One Knights specifically, and potentially the Pleasure Seekers, I think, which is, they're very clunky and very chonky if you've ever used them. So them being a different shape is basically gonna improve their contact effectiveness when they get into combat. So depending on how this is implemented, it's gonna be really good. Like, it could literally turn them into a good unit, and especially because they're so expensive at 1800 and 2.2k. Like, this is a very needed buff. So yeah, really like this change. Plague Ridden, minus 150g on all variants. That's pretty cool. But the Plague Ridden, the only problem is it's too freaking slow. It is like all other units, too freaking slow. Like, this is a caster, right? And you want your caster to actually be present in combat. And you getting him in a Rotfly maybe is now cheaper, because it's gonna be like, what, 1.1k. But man, you really don't want to spend 1.1k on your caster. You can already get what? You can already get a Chaos Sorcerer. How expensive is he base? He's 500 base. Like, what do you need this guy for? If you can just get this guy on a horse and he's still Well, technically he's gonna be more expensive, but this guy's on a horse, right? So why would you get this guy? Why would you take this guy? There's no reason to take him. Like, you want Cloud of Flies, everything on Nurgle already has Cloud of Flies. You want physical resistance? Why do you want physical resistance? And this guy plus this guy already has 100 armor here. Like, that's his extra physical resistance, right? So it is just not worth it, man. It's always more worth it to just take the Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle. So nice try, but yeah, they're just not good enough. Plague Flare cannot be purchased. Okay. Locus of Virulence. Duration is now 25 seconds. And you get even more when it comes to this. So, also, okay, very nice. Just a small buff of 4 seconds. Herald of Nurgle. Minus 200G on all variants. Tormentor Sword. Tormentor Sword is actually a pretty big buff. And then our boy Herald. Where is he? But he suffers from the same thing. Like, why would you take this guy at... Oh my god. He's 1600 base? Oh my god, that's disgusting. Look at the comparison here. You get a Chaos Sorcerer Lord on... So he's on a Rotfly, so what is the equivalent? Like a Rot Beast? He's 400 gold cheaper, man. Like, why is he so much cheaper? Like, even on a Palanquin, this is great. Like, on a Palanquin, he's even slower than on foot. So, like, it's just insane how cheap he is compared to... how expensive he is compared to the Chaos Sorcerer Lord. So this is a nice try, giving them especially Tormentor Sword, because you don't have Tormentor Sword on your Chaos Sorcerer. You do get it on, like, the normal one, the normal version of the Chaos Sorcerer. But, yeah, you just don't have the ability to it. So, yeah. Good try. I think still a bit too expensive and just too slow. Like, he's just too slow. Next up, Epidemius. Epidemius minus 50G. So Epidemius is a cool guy. Like, I would love to have Epidemius work, but I do understand that he would be so freaking oppressive with just Sands of Sickness and then Tally of Pestilence. That is he's so crazy. Like, all of his abilities are so goofy, but he's gonna be minus 50 gold. So 1500 for him. Maybe in some matchups you could actually take him and be okay with it. So yeah, potentially sometimes you could take Epidemius. I remember one game where I didn't know what Epidemius actually did, and I basically stacked my units on top of each other, and then he just popped Sands of Sickness. I was like, why is nothing dying and why is everything of mine dying? And then I read the ability and I was like, ah, yes, that is the way it works. So yeah. Plus 30 weapon strength. Okay, Sands of Sickness now 25 seconds instead of 16. That's a pretty significant buff. Now this is gonna be super annoying if it ever actually gets to the opponent. Talisman's Blades summon lifetime is now 120 seconds. I don't know how the base for them is. It's like 90 plus 30, 120. So yeah, I don't remember what the length of every single summon is. So you can comment down below if you do know that. Tally of Pestilence, max melee attack is now 20, so they're just buffing this from 15 to 20. Round numbers, it's fine. Nice change to Epidemius. Maybe he can get used. Bilious Thundergluff Arwar. Removed poison contact effect and replaced it with corroded armor. Corroded armor is basically like a minus 30, right? Which we already saw. And then his fart ability basically has more damage, and it gets suffocating instead of corroded armor, which is nice change. Like, you don't need poison on a giant, right? You probably do want it. It's the same synergy with the Terracotta Sentinel that they had. So that's nice change. He should probably get a bit of a cost reduction though. Like, he's super expensive. Oh, how much is Billy? Billy is 1700 for a giant. Oof. Etten is 1500. Oof. Great Unclean One. has Voted Stench. So this is a -5 melee attack, or melee, yeah, -5 melee attack debuff. So nice, he stinks, makes sense. And cost -100, so our big boy, Great Unclean One. I think this also affects Uncle for Uncle, probably. But the Great Unclean One, now 1600. Might be okay. He does have a like a free summon, and he does have like a couple of abilities. He might not be the worst, especially at 36 speed. Maybe we'll see some use of him. Cultists of Nurgle can now purchase Brass Cleaver in custom battles. Okay, and then Warrior Bane buff, debuff is now 12%. Warrior Bane is like the area of effect debuff thing. Where is it? This one. Instead of -8, it's going to be -12. So, nice buff, but nothing too special, honestly. You probably don't even take this. Whenever you take the boys, you take them naked with the Gate of Nurgle anyway. Because this is unreliable, and yeah. This kind of just doesn't matter. It's sometimes if you have extra money, you can take this, but you usually don't have extra money. So yeah. Changeling. Deceiving Shadows now has the 25% spell mastery to the Changeling. Interesting. So he gets more, but you probably never use this anyway. And Decoy now has Disoriented contact effect. Disoriented is the blinded, the same thing as blinded, which basically means that -24, -24, I think, on the stats. And then Cowled and Cloak is costs -100 gold, and this now has +25 speed. So if we go to the Changeling, we can see his Crowded and Cloaked now gives him Stalk. Now it's also going to get him 25% speed. Nice, he can get into position a bit quicker. He's already pretty quick at 50, but maybe with the spell mastery, the play with him is gonna be like getting something like Aranessa maybe, and then just taking, let's say, Zinchian Firestorm or something. But the problem with this is you can just get an Exalted Chicken or something, right? You can just get, I don't know, Kairos, and get like Greater Arcane Conduit with him. And like, this is the same thing that you're already taking. So I don't know, and he's just a better lord. Unless you're going for something super specific from the roster. But yeah, it's just not worth it to take Changeling as a generalist caster. Either way. But interesting change. And yeah. Screamers of Tzeentch. So +4 charge bonus, +15 HP per entity. Okay. Screamers definitely underutilized, a bit weaker when it comes to the roster, especially as anti-large fighters. So this is just a general nice change. But this is really unneeded, man. Poor Shrieking Skyrays get nerfed. Why? No. Why, CA? Why do you nerf this unit? Like, this unit is only used because of Lamprey's Bite. Because Skyrays are bad in general. And man, why nerf this unit? Like, there was really no need for Tzeentch nerfs. Now it makes the over-expensive roster even more expensive. This was like the one saving grace that you felt good picking up on Tzeentch. And now it's not going to be feeling good because it costs 1k instead of 950. It's really not needed. And poor Tzeentch, man, like, it really needs a bit of a rework when it comes to the costs on just about everything. But yeah, unfortunate that they get a buff and then they get a nerf to come along with it. Flamers of Tzeentch, -50 gold. So Berserk is going to be really happy with this one, and nobody else is going to care at all for this one, because again, nobody uses Flamers of Tzeentch except Berserk, and whenever he does, it's just a 150 value type summon, and then he loses the game because of them. So this is just even more bait for Berserk to take even more Flamers of Tzeentch, unfortunately. But yeah, nice that they're buffing them. Cockatrice. So Petrifying Gaze now has 2 uses. So our boy, Zikok, does have 2 Petrifying Gazes now, which is nice because you can technically now take him with Kairos and his Gaze of Fate, and you technically have 5 roots, which means 5 Tzeentchian Firestorms that cannot be avoided. which is very nice. How long is the Gaze of Fate? 14 seconds. So you really need to time this well with these Ancient Firestorm. But potentially, now you can take a cock. Iridescent Horror. Locus of Change, now 40 seconds. And some standard of Sundering, which is probably like a minus armor effect, can now be purchased in a custom battle. Okay. You're never taking an Iridescent Horror either way. Like, you're... same problem with the Plague Ridden is base this boy. I mean, you could sometimes take him, but the Chaos Sorcerer just has Skull of Catan, man. Like, why would you skip on Skull of Catan and Blasphemous Amulet if you can take that compared to just taking a Iridescent Horror? Like, this guy is the same base price, and you get Skull of Catan. Like, it's not worth taking a Locus of Change compared to Skull of Catan. So, yeah, it's just not worth it. Village now has Hide Forest attribute. I don't know why he didn't. Like, it makes sense. Vessel of Chaos now heals at 1% per second, 35. And this is a nice change. So our boy Village definitely needed some sort of buff. Where's the Vessel of Chaos? Where's this one? So it was literally just for him, which is very bad. Like, why would this just be for him, right? But it giving a 35 melee radius is nice. I would like it to be 55 because the blues and pinks already are a very spread out unit. So it probably won't even hit more than 2 units at most if you take this. And this is a 200 gold ability, man. It's just not worth taking. Especially when you're going for Village. You already are going for like super cheap Village with like maybe pink and maybe Storm, but probably just pink. And then getting 200 for this, potentially just not worth it. So yeah, still relatively okay. And Twisted Twin. Now you can potentially just take Twisted Twin, because getting Spell Mastery is always nice. And 150 is cheap enough so that you can actually go into it. It depends on how much they buffed it. Maximum intensity requirement reduced, because previously he had to take like, I don't know, 15 spells to max it out, or 10 spells to max it out, compared to potentially just having less. So that's nice. It depends how much they buffed it. You need to test it when it comes out. Blazing Squealers ROR. Minus 100 gold, extra accuracy, and now uses the correct profile. I don't know what this means, but minus 100 is a nice change. So they're already too expensive. 1350 for an extra on a roster that is already so expensive is just not worth it. And the only time that you could get them for something is because you need the Conduit of Infinity. This might be better in land battle where ammo actually matters, but yeah. Having them at 1350 is just crazy. Like, it's just not worth upgrading to. Look at the stats that you get. You get Warp Flame, which is nice, okay. But there's so many other things that apply Warp Flame. And then you get 7 extra missile strength. And the replenishment. For 350, like, I don't need to look at melee attack and melee defense, right? Because you already don't want to have these guys in melee combat, so those stats kind of don't really matter, and neither does leadership. Like at 75, you're not crumping these guys. Either way, they're demonic, they're immune to terror. So yeah. Okay. Aecold, terrible unit. This kind of doesn't matter. It's just some extra stuff for buffing him. Like, he is just too expensive. Like, him on anything, like even naked, is just, he's 1350, man. And you stick him into the best fight of his life. So cheap, non-armored, non-super armored infantry, he's just not gonna pay for himself over the course of the entire game of fighting. So yeah, just not working. Blue Scribes now has flammable contact effect on their missile weapons. Nice. So basically getting the Blue Scribes now has synergy with their own ammo. And it has synergy, honestly, with a lot of things on both the Tzeentchian roster, and on top of that, like, a lot of spells deal fire damage. So this is just a nice buff. and you're already taking Spell Siphon, so they're just too expensive, man. They're just too expensive. Mutilith Vortex Beast, minus 100 gold. So whenever you're taking Muty, where's our boring Muty? Here you go. Whenever you're taking Muty, you're already taking Aeson. So kind of differentiating the Muty from Aeson with an extra 100 gold might actually sometimes get you to actually take the Mutilith Beast versus just taking Aeson always. So this might be a nice change. And Aeson the Fallen, Maelstrom of Change now has a spread range of 40 meters. This is a good buff because sometimes the spread just doesn't properly do it. So applying it instead of it is currently at 30 meters, I believe. The spread range is 30 meter spread range. So if it goes to 40, that's going to be way more consistent when it comes to the spread, especially because sometimes like if you're not hitting the middle of the unit properly and they're like not connecting, it sometimes can't spread. So this is a really nice change. Good buff to Aeson. I like it. Burning Chariot of Tzeentch, all variants. So additional 20 bonus versus infantry. Nice. Warflame contact effect. Nice. Collision attack profile adjusted. This is potentially the strongest change here for the Burning Chariot. Because if they changed it to be similar to what Sky Cutters do, this can now actually be a chariot. Because previously, it's just not a chariot. It's just a flamer unit attached on top of a chariot, and then you use it to snipe your opponent's lord. But with this is an interesting change that needs to be tested out and seen how it is actually used. So quite interesting. I like this change because yeah, otherwise you're just using it to cheese your opponent in some other way, right? So that's not nice. And then Lord of Change now has Seer of Destiny. I actually had to Google what Seer of Destiny is, and it's a leadership and melee defense buff. So yeah, nice. He has an area effect buff, which is nice. Same thing for the Golden Griffin of Theurgy, which is the ROR chicken. And with this, the changes are concluded. These are all the battle changes that we're going to be getting in this patch. So, what do you guys think on the patch? My thoughts are nice stuff for Nurgle. Nurgle is definitely a huge winner here in the patch. But also, like, look at this. Toad Dragon, Tamarcon, Rotflies, Plague Ogres, Rot Riders, Plague Ridden, Herald of Nurgle, Epidemius, Bilious, Great Unclean One, Changelings, and like the like everything like this. Plus the new units that are going to be coming out that they have teased in the DLC is potentially gonna move Nurgle just up a notch. I still don't think Nurgle is good after all of these changes. They just suffer from not having any sort of agency in the game, and most of these changes are not going to change that. So they're unless they get some sort of, let's say, cav unit that is, or like how do you call it, light cav unit or something that can give them some more agency. I don't feel like this gives them enough to actually do it. Crazy work that they have actually buffed most of the units on Norska and on Slanesh. Like, okay, these are some changes that are negative, but mostly are cosmetic, honestly. But and this is a really good nerf. But like buffing Kurgan Horsemen is crazy. Like it's really strong. They're really strong already. Wulfric buff is okay. I don't mind it, honestly. Like Wulfric is a good character, but he's a fair character. You don't feel like whenever somebody takes Wulfric, you don't feel like it's OP. You feel like it's standard somehow. I like Throg. All of the other things are kind of okay, but they're just suffering. Like they're okay changes. They're just suffering from Norska being already very strong on the multiplayer scene, and then you giving Norska any sort of buffs, I don't think is going to be favorably taken, and potentially we can even see a Norska restriction in the tournaments after this. And then same thing for Slanesh, man. Like Slanesh, great change to like Slangors, and then buffing everything else on Slanesh is crazy work. Especially like Mask, okay, takes a small HP hit, but then gets charge bonus and speed increase and unyielding assault. So this thing is still 100% banned. And I think people will just move more to be to banning Slanesh outright as an entire faction. All of the rest of them seem okay, especially the stuff for like the Grand Cathay. These are like just okay changes. Like still nothing too crazy, but just nice synergistic changes. I like the idea of these changes. Like they do synergize well with the faction idea of how it actually works. Definitely could have used more changes. And yeah, tell me what you think about the patch in the comments, and let's discuss on what you think, if the meta will be changed in some way, how you think the meta will be changed in some way, and so on. So very, very interested to see you guys in the comments for the discussion that is going to be in this video. So be sure to like and subscribe for more. I'll definitely be doing more information type content as soon as it actually comes out with the information. And yeah, cheers, and talk to you guys as soon as we open up the comments. Bye.